Assalamu'alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Syifa Azzahra from Class E. Now I would like to share what I have learned in the introduction of TEYL about how to deal with different types of young learners and the principles of TEYL. Passive learning. Passive learning is a method or outcome of learning where students receive and internalize information from the instructors without active effort, feedback, or participation. It can be said that passive learning is a form of learning that relies on information transmission from a teacher to a learner with little to interaction. As the learner is required to absorb rather than act on knowledge, they are considered passive rather than active. Active learning. Active learning is a method of learning in which students are actively or experientially involved in the learning process and where there are different levels of active learning depending on students' involvement. The active participation of each and every student is a necessary aspect in active learning. When given the opportunity to actively engage with the information they are learning, students perform better. Every student has different in learning. There are active learners and passive learners. So, how teachers deal with passive learners and active learners? The first is vary the task. Teachers can vary assignment by combining listening, speaking, reading, writing, vocabulary, or grammar. The second is teachers give every student equal chance to speak up. The third is give reinforcement. Teachers can give compliment or reward. The fourth is walk around the class, so all students will get teachers' attention. The fifth is mix the passive and active students in the same group, but teachers have to make sure that every student does their job. The sixth is change the seating arrangement. Sometimes some students are passive because they think teacher don't pay attention to them. So the seating arrangement is important. The seventh is teachers call out their names. The eighth is teachers give motivating words. For example, after a passive student answer a question, teachers can say, "Wow, that was a great idea. Your answer is very good. Next time, try to answer the question again, okay?" The ninth is do personal approach. If all else fail. Teachers can talk to the passive students personally outside the class about how their condition, how their feelings, or something else. Next, slow learners and fast learners. In addition, there are slow learners and fast learners. Slow learners may struggle academically in school, while fast learners have excellent analytical skills and can assimilate material more quickly. Slow learners are very sensitive and self-conscious as they are very well aware of their weakness in comparison with the fast learners. So, how teachers deal with active learners and fast learners? How teachers deal with slow learners and fast learners? The first is apply peer tutoring. It means the fast learners as tutors for the slow learners. The second is apply mixed group that consisting of fast learners and slow learners in a group discussion. The third is do comprehension check, especially on the slow learners. The fourth is ask questions to both types. Teachers don't focus only on the slow or the fast. The fifth is walk around the class. The sixth is vary the learning methods. The seventh is vary the level of difficulties of the task or assignment or the test. The eighth is change the seating arrangement regularly. The ninth is give special treatment or attention to the slow learners. The 10th is give enrichment or extra exercises to the fast learners. The 11th is give remedial teaching to the slow learners. The 12th is give feedback so students know their ability. The 13th is do personal approach. Teachers can talk to a specific learner if needed. So, based on this, it can be concluded that the learning speed of slow learners should be followed by teacher a little more. Then, how would teacher deal with students who are difficult to control or having special needs with non-physical impairment? The first is agree on special cues for students with special needs to help them stay focused and prepared to answer questions when called upon. It could be something as simple as a light pad on the back or sticky notes on their desk. The second is don't rush students with special needs. Try to ask them probing questions only after they've try to ask them probing questions only after they've had enough time to solve an equation. The third is steer clear of sarcasm and criticism. This brings attention to differences between students with learning disabilities and their classmates. The fourth is utilize a variety of audiovisual material to present academic lessons. For example, when teaching students how to solve fractions, teachers can use a wooden apple divided into quarters and a pear divided into halves. Next material, principles of TEYL. Please remember this principle. Spoken first, written later, and receptive first, productive later. In spoken skills, there are listening and speaking. In written skill, there are reading and writing. In receptive skills, there are listening and reading. In productive skills, there are speaking and writing. The first principle is implicit learning. Implicit learning is the learning of a cognitive or behavioral task that occurs without intention to learn or awareness of what has been learned. It is characterized as a situation-neutral induction process whereby complex structures are learned without conscious awareness of what has been learned. There are several teaching techniques that can be used to apply implicit learning. One of the most common examples of implicit learning is learning through play in childhood. Children's play is natural and fun, but through the simple act of playing, children learn a great deal about the world around them. Another example of the use is mnemonics, which are memory aids that help learners remember information more easily. Other techniques include storytelling, role-playing, and problem-based learning. The second is contextual learning. Contextual learning is based on a constructivist theory of teaching and learning. It takes place when teachers are able to present information in such a way that students are able to construct meaning based on their own experiences. There are several teaching techniques or activities that can be used to apply contextual learning, include problem-based learning, self-directed learning, stimulation, and role-playing. The third is learner-centeredness. Learner-centeredness refers to an approach that places the learner at the center of the learning process. This approach emphasizes the importance of taking into account the learner's needs, interests, abilities when designing and implementing teaching activities. There are many teaching techniques and activities that can be used to apply learner-centeredness. Some of these techniques include foster collaboration with group projects, let learners develop content, and hold a competition. These techniques are designed to shift the focus of instruction from the teacher to students and develop learner autonomy and independence by putting responsibility for the learning path in the hands of students by imparting to them skills and the basis on how. The last is meaningful learning. Meaningful learning refers to the process of acquiring knowledge by connecting new information with existing knowledge or experiences that serve an anchor when obtaining new knowledge. This type of learning is active, constructive, and durable. It implies understanding and requires active learning techniques such as debate, group work, games, analogies, illustration, and previous organizers. Meaningful learning teaches students important cognitive skills they will use throughout their life. Okay, I think that's all from me. Hopefully, it can be useful for all of us. I would like to apologize if there are mistakes, and thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.